Government shutdown is hitting the housing market hard in Florida, shows what's at stake. So the thing that I think this has to do with probably has to do with flood insurance, which has to do with FEMA, which is government shutdown affects this. People can't get their flood insurance. That's what I assume they're going to talk about. Yeah, I mean, yeah, just right off the bat, here we go. Okay, while Congress remains at a standstill, the effects of the federal government shutdown are beginning to ripple through Florida's housing market, and the fallout could soon reach the rest of the country. Oh boy. Warning signs are mounting. Flood insurance renewals are in limbo as the National Flood Insurance Program sits frozen. Builders are bracing for added delays as the shutdown leaves few federal staff available to process key environmental permits. Home builders are seeing federal loans stalled, and what started as a bureaucratic pause is now threatening one of the state's most powerful economic engines, real estate. That's no small thing in Florida, where this housing sector doesn't just shape the market, it is the market. Real estate accounts for 24.1% of Florida's GDP. Really? Wow. I did not know that. The largest share of any state. That's very interesting. Did not know that. According to May 2024. Okay, well, how about this year? How's it look this year? Things have kind of, been going in a specific direction in Florida for not only last year, but this year also. Real estate accounts for nearly 20% of the U.S. economy. Okay, so 4% more, right? 4% more in Florida. Not that far off, but yeah, okay. Touching every community and driving millions of jobs. Yes, each additional day of uncertainty threatens programs that help buyers, sellers, and property owners navigate an already challenging market. Nationwide housing contributes about 18% to GDP. But in Florida, every home... Okay, so it's 6%. But in Florida, every home sale packs an even bigger punch. Each medium price sale generates about $125,000 in local economic activity and supports roughly 2 jobs through construction, retail, and home services, according to the same report. Given Florida's large share of national housing activity, even a modest pullback in buyer engagement could visibly nudge national sales and inventory metrics. Okay, but look at what's been happening in Florida for the past couple of years. It's been not for the entire state. Maybe that's the thing. It's like the state as a whole has been maybe flatlined to down, where certain areas are... The only reason why I'm bringing it up is because certain areas are down, like 30, 40% down, 30% down, probably is closer to the number, 30% down. Areas of Southwest Florida, 30% down. So again, depending on the specific zip code, specific town, city, that type of thing, right? You would think that that would have shown within what they're talking about here. Given Florida's large share of national housing activity, even a modest pullback in buyer engagement could visibly nudge national sales and inventory metrics. And that's why I'm saying, like, well, wait a minute. It's been happening for the past, since like 2023, if not 2022. 2022, like, was the peak, right? Like mid 22, I think, somewhere. That was right before the interest rate spikes, which was like later in the year, like August, September, October, like, point being, prices have been down in Florida for years. This is not just a new thing, as some other areas in the country are starting to find out, oh, wait a minute, things are softening. Like, no, in Florida, in specific areas of Florida, things are already, it's Jello pudding down here. It is as soft as it gets, really. I mean, still to this day, price cuts. Sales coming through, and they're, they're coming a lot under, not just a couple thousand. So that's where I'm like, according to what you're saying here, it would show a lot more nationally, but maybe it's because Florida as a whole hasn't gotten whacked. It's more just specific areas. Still, in other words, what happens that housing in Florida doesn't stay in Florida. As the shutdown stretches on, state slowdown could become a warning sign for the national economy. There's more than just, this is more than just, this is specific to the shutdown. The warning signs for the national economy have more to do with whatever is going on with the Fed and gold prices, right? Just asset prices in general. but specifically gold, because like, what's going on? Gold is on such a tear that we're not going to know the reason why it went on such a tear until after the thing happens. And we're like, oh, that's why. Because of inflation or whatever, whatever it is. People don't trust the dollar, right? People are just making their money in dollars and converting it immediately. Stuff like that. So I don't know what the answer is. I don't know if that is the answer. A lot of people speculate that's what it is. I'm not saying they're wrong. I don't know though. Nowhere are the consequences more visible than on Florida's coast and low-lying wetlands. So all of Florida, almost all of Florida, actually if you go up into northern Florida, there's more. I mean, I remember driving through there. There's way more hills than I expected. If you go through certain areas of Florida, you're like, whoa, there's like hills. I had no idea. I just thought everything was just what you can see and then lots of sky, right? It's just super flat. So anyways, yeah. State sits at the center of nation's Florida flood risk. Nearly 1.8 million national flood insurance program policies, more than 1/3 of all active policies nationwide. Oh God, that's crazy. Authorization is suspended. That coverage is now in limbo, assuming that each month has roughly an equal share of policies that expire. Roughly 150,000 policies are up for renewal every month in Florida alone. And while a 30-day grace period allows lapsed policies to be reinstated, that buffer is shrinking fast. Yeah, I mean, that's a problem. That's a problem. And this has to do with the shutdown. And I don't know all of the details of the shutdown because I don't follow it super closely. But just in general, I'm going to say it's fucking horseshit. And these people need to do their jobs. Just as a taxpayer, I'm saying do your fucking job. Do your job. I don't know what the details are, but do your job. If I got to go and do my job, just all of it. I'm just, especially with the whole, like ordeal 5 years ago, like I'm sick of all of the BS. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. Do your job. Do your job. You're going to tell me I can't do my job 5 years ago and do your job. Just insanity. It's ridiculous. And politics is it's all horseshit. All right. So if the shutdown stretches past late October, thousands of homeowners could find themselves uninsured. Right. I mean, this is in the middle of hurricane season. Yeah, I kind of had a feeling early this year, just with the amount of rain that we got. I'm like, last time it rained as much as it's been raining, we didn't get a hurricane season, basically. It was like nothing. And it's not over yet, but that's how it's looking. I mean, the peak is over, right? The peak is September, October. We're mid-October. We're on the other side of it. We're basically on the other side of it. It is nothing's happening this year, which is a good thing, right? It's a good thing. Nothing's happening this year, but still, this is ridiculous. Meteorologists say that so far the nation has been lucky to avoid a direct landfall from a major storm, but that luck won't hold forever. And if a storm hits while thousands of yeah, gloom and doom. Yes, okay, everybody be scared. That risk is precisely why most lenders require flood insurance for homes in high risk areas. Now, Fannie and Freddie have relaxed flood insurance requirements, allowing an estimated 1,300 home sales per day that require flood coverage to keep moving. Existing policies can also be transferred to new buyers, but only when they remain active. New construction buyers, however, don't have the same safety net. With no existing policy to assume from a previous owner, they're left unable to secure new coverage while Congress restores NFIP authority, leaving thousands of new home closings at risk if the shutdown drags on. If the shutdown stretches into weeks, we expect to see a buildup of pending sales in flood-exposed areas as closings are delayed, right, until it's restored. Meanwhile, Florida's construction industry had only recently found its footing after years of shortages and recent price corrections. Late July, the Pulte Group, the third largest home builder in the U.S., announced that new orders in Florida were up 2% compared to the same period last year. I mean, that's a good thing. It's not saying much, I think, because last year was abysmal and, it's not saying much. It is good. I am like, okay, is it bottoming? Is this like a bottoming that's happening? Is that what we're seeing right now? Possibly. I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. I hope it doesn't go down more. That would not be great for anybody that owns a home. I mean, there are deals right now. I think now's the time to buy. There are deals right now. It was welcome, if unexpected, news just months before home building giant KB Homes announced that it was cutting new home prices by $30,000. Against that backdrop, Pulte's surge in orders seemed to signal a cautious turning point. Right. Now that momentum is once again in jeopardy. I'm saying because of the shutdowns. Especially metros already seeing sellers pull listings when offers fall short. Buyers and agents could hit pause on flood zone properties. Okay, but this is a bit different. NFIP delays could add to the active inventory and delisting ratios, especially in metros already seeing sellers pull listings when offers fall short. Right, but this is different. You're talking about two different sellers here. This is people that write these articles. This is different. You're talking about two different sellers here, okay? Active inventory and delisting ratios. The people that are delisting are not the new home builders. New home builders are not the ones that are delisting. People that are delisting are the people that are in existing homes that are however old, right? Not a new construction, basically. Maybe it's a new construction, but it's only a year or two old or something like that. But somebody already owns it. It would not be its first sale, is my point. But houses where they're a new construction and this is their first sale and they're being sold by the builder, they're not delisting. That's not this. Yeah, sellers pull listings when offers fall short. That's different. That's people that's if I were to try and sell this house. That would be me, not a builder who just built this house and they need to sell it. That's very different. Buyers and agents could hit pause on flood zone properties, creating a short-term bottleneck, followed by a post-shutdown rebound in closings. Top of the funnel for construction is also at risk as key federal permits required, which governs the discharge of materials into wetlands and waterways, are expected to be delayed. Federal loan programs that have buoyed affordability for thousands of home buyers. FHA, USDA loans are lifelines for first-time and rural home buyers, but now they are delayed or halted as agency staff remain furloughed. Disruptions may seem bureaucratic, but they can stop a closing in its tracks. Yeah, it's bureaucratic. Yeah, it's a problem. I wish that there was more accountability for basically everybody. Basically everybody, but especially for politicians. I wish that there was more accountability on both sides, right? Just across the board. But there's not. It's because they can't, if one pushes too far when the other gets in power, then they have the go to go too far. And that's the line that we've been really teetering for years now. And how long is it going to keep holding? It's just all bad. It's all bad. Florida ranks as the 7th largest recipient of USDA housing funds, receiving about $327 million this year for single-family and multifamily programs so far this year. Same is true for FHA lending, which underpins a large share of entry-level buyers, right? Purchases, yes. In June alone, FHA loans in Florida totaled $2.4 billion, third highest volume of any state after California and Texas. Well, yeah, I mean, these are the three big states, right? Florida, California, Texas. There it is. California, Texas, Florida, in that order. In a housing market already grappling with high mortgage rates and slowing demand, these interruptions do more than delay paperwork. They erode confidence. Yeah, but they're only eroding confidence in government, which they're going to see it. I mean, if you're smart, you're going to see it as federal government. You're not going to see it as state government specifically. Florida doesn't deal with FEMA anymore. They have their own backstops because we know not to rely on FEMA. That's just how they do things down here, which I think probably is better because it's better to not have to deal with FEMA. You saw how they handled North Carolina and Asheville and all that. You can't do it that way. You can't rely on it. In Florida, because of its history with hurricanes and dealing with FEMA, we know, like, okay, no, we need our own plans because we can't be waiting on the federal government. Federal government does horse shit like this. We can't afford to shut down. and play politics by shutting down. It's ridiculous. If the state's large flood-exposed markets weather the shutdown with only a brief dip in activity, that would suggest a contained national effect, but delayed closing snowball into broader pullbacks and offers or price adjustments that could foreshadow a deeper fourth quarter slowdown in the U.S. housing data. I mean, that's already the way that it's showing. It's going, even regardless of shutdown, that's already the way that things were pointing, right? Things aren't pointing up for the housing market right now. And I'm talking nationally. They're talking nationally. We're talking nationally. They're not pointing up. They're pointing slowdown. And again, state to state is super different. How I'm seeing it here in Florida, it seems as though we could be bottoming out. Could be. That's a very delicate could be, right? We could just be pausing and then we're going to just continue to drop. But we could be slowing down. How things happen, yes, obviously throughout the rest of this year, but also into season, peak season is coming up. That's going to say a lot. I mean, I say it in all of these videos. I think right now is a buying opportunity in Florida. That's what I think. I think it's a buying opportunity. Will things continue to go lower? Maybe. I mean, obviously, yeah, it's possible, but I just see things are on there's such a sale that's happening right now. It's not going to stay that way forever. And we see how things have been just historically in Florida in terms of prices. It's almost like California is a lot of the same way. It's like zigzag up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, like big ups, big downs, big ups, big downs. And to me, it's down, and it's down a lot. Maybe it's not and maybe it hasn't capitulated or whatever, but I don't know. To me, it's a buying opportunity. And ultimately with this stuff, when it opens back up, all this stuff is just gonna keep moving along. Like, it's just gonna keep moving along. So it's a temporary blip. That's it.